Stellar Blade is a game brought to you by Korean developer Shift Up. They are an amazing company and have brought us an RPG that seemingly came out of nowhere. Well, it didn't come out of nowhere. There were trailers and backups leading up to it. However, this game has been amazing. My experience with it has been nothing short of spectacular. The graphics are awesome. The story could leave a little bit much to be desired, but then again, it could go anywhere from here, to be all honest. And also, it just visually is pleasing to look at. You know, from Eve to Adam to all of the different characters, Lily as well, which is the third, I believe. Well, not I believe, I played it. It is Lily. But it's one of those things where it's an action RPG junk food type game. It doesn't give you too much, but it gives you just enough to leave you wanting more. And Shift Up has done a remarkable job with this piece in adding it to their museum of games or library of games that I'm sure will grow as time progresses. It's a strong outing. It has great feel to it. The combat, oh my goodness, the combat in this game is nothing short of spectacular. So sit back, relax, grab whatever cup of water, cup of juice, whatever you need, and let's dive into my experience with Stellar Blade.
Here, friend. It's me you want. No!
The developer, or rather the CEO of the company Shift Up, Kim Hung Tae, essentially mentioned that the passion and creativity that's coming into this game is coming in more from an aspect of Parasite. So for those of you who don't know the movie Parasite, that is a movie by Bong Joon-ho that is amazing, and I think a part of that creative team that did Parasite also came on to give or lend their expertise to Stellar Blade, and that shows from the design of the enemies and the monster varieties, and that's something I'm going to dive into later on in relation with the story. But the monsters in this game are beautiful to look at. We're going to talk about the design, we're going to talk about the stages that are in this game as well, and we're going to dive into a little bit of the story. You've been here before, you know how the Buffalo's Wild single player games go. You essentially have to, well, you don't have to, but we essentially go into the design of the game and the story, and then we wrap up. So we are coming into Stellar Blade that is also mired in slight controversies, and that's given into, be it from the character designs to whatever, you know, nonsense that's going on on the internet. We're not coming to it from that lens. We're going to ignore all that noise and talk about this as what it is, a game. It is very, very heavily Nier Automata inspired, and you see that in everything from the apocalyptic Earth feel to it, the vibes, if you will, and also the general complexity of the story, which, you know, I'm hinting that they're going in that direction with it as well. It's a classic apocalyptic Earth. You know what to expect already. Humanity has done some crazy shit, for lack of better phrasing, and a lot of stuff is going on. So Eve, who we play as in Stellar Blade, is a member of the 7th Airborne Squadron, who is basically tasked with killing said monsters in this game, or exterminating the Naytibas, that are the very, very disgusting and emotion fueling, you know, fear. I don't know if you're afraid, like, you could have fear, you could have resentment, especially when they kill you a lot, which I'll talk about that too. The enemies hit really hard in this game. But you're set in as Eve, going against Naytibas, and you're basically tasked with killing all the alpha Naytibas. Now, the alpha Naytibas also contain said cores that actually progress the story forward, because spoilers incoming. Not incoming. I'm trying to avoid as much spoilers as possible. You're going in to get the cores to basically, essentially, put all these MacGuffins together and try to solve the mystery of what happened, which is, you know, how the Naytibas came about and the destruction of Earth. In this story, humans are not on Earth. Well, there is a last bastion of human civilization, which is the city of Zion. But outside of that, majority of humanity has left Earth due to the Naytiba incursion. And as you play throughout the story, you're going to come into situations that actually explain to you what had happened and how the current state of affairs came to be. And overall, it's an amazing game. Combat is what is most important here. I just dived a little bit into the story just before now, but the combat, that's something we're going to talk about in depth in the design for this game. From the parrying to the dodging, you can't parry and dodge at the same time, which I know it sounds weird, but we're so used to that in many other action RPG games that when it comes to this game, the fact that you can't do any of that actually throws you off for a loop in the first half, and you're going to get slapped around constantly until you figure that out. You're forced to make a decision as to whether you want to parry or you want to dodge. Now, you have the different color attacks that the enemies have and use against you, and those different color attacks actually indicate whether it's a parryable attack or a dodge. You're recommended to dodge that attack, and that adds an extra level of risk to the fights. The flow of battle, the energy of battle in this game is absolutely phenomenal. So right now we're gonna jump into the design for the game and how this game flourishes in that department as well.
I can't believe we're in the Hall of Records. It's like a dream. Now, all we have to do is find the hyperdrive.
At the start of the 22nd century, humanity's right to life was threatened by advanced global warming.
Coming up first in the design for this game that I absolutely have to talk about are the puzzles in the in-game world. They are pretty cool. So occasionally when you're going in through different venues or different areas of a level or a map in this game, because they're split into sections, you will have situations where you have a barrier or a security pass or key code that you need to kind of walk through. And it's kind of cool because it promotes exploration of said regions. You have to go out there, find the code, learn the code, and memorize it by mind. Especially what I did was just take it to heart and memorize it. I had people in chat as well, so helping me out with doing that. But generally speaking, you could either do that or, reopen your inventory and take a look at the code again before typing it in. I found that very interesting. Now, for those of you who are fans of Helldivers as well, there's a lot of puzzles that involve that too, where you're giving, the up, down, down, left, right keys, directional buttons to input within a time space that will actually help you hack or get into an electronic device. I thought that was really fantastic, and I'm all for it for a lot of Sony IPs to go in this direction. It kind of gets your monkey brain going, oh, I need to push up, push down, push left, push right to actually get something to go through. It's really fun. And whenever it clicks, even just for the fun of it, there's that rush where you input that and it unlocks whatever doors or whatever machines that you're trying to operate. And it does a really great job. There was a specific region with cranes as well, kind of swinging around, that you have to kind of position in a point where you can get across a gap without falling, obviously. And that was also great too as well. We're going to talk about also the set designing for this game. It has been a hot minute, and I don't want to compare too much, but this is kind of if you slapped Nier and Horizon Forbidden West or Zero Dawn together into one game. That's kind of what it feels like, and this is just from a vibe perspective, not from a gameplay perspective, right? So you are getting situations where Eve has to override certain devices, like we said, with the up down directional, with the directional buttons to kind of get into those, but you're also getting little tidbits here and there on the lore of how Earth came to being, kind of blown up, destroyed. For the most part, it is destroyed. And that part can be very, very interesting. We're going to also get into the skills that you have. The game does a really good job at kind of gradually introducing you to these as you progress. You have the dodge keys that we talked about earlier, the parries as well. You have certain attributes, and there's the skill trees as well. I'm not going to spoil too much about the skill trees because I find that personally it is great for you to unlock those and see those for yourself. But you're going to get these unique skills called beta skills, and they charge up via energy that you're able to conserve. So you're able to conserve this beta energy, and we made a lot of jokes about that on stream, and you're gonna be able to use that to actually execute these special abilities, especially on enemies that kind of breaks whatever attack animation that they're in, and that adds even an extra layer of complexity to the combat system as well. We as gamers playing the game are also gonna touch into more exciting parts of gameplay where you can dodge, and in that perfect dodge animation, if you do get a perfect dodge, you can actually continue the attack, and there's stances. So now we're adding bits of Sekiro into the game as well. Knock knock, this is why I said it's video game junk food. The combat system is very amazing. So enemies also have stances in which you have to break said stances and cripple them. So when you do break an enemy stance, you have an ability called Retribution, which does increase damage to the enemy as well. So you're more or less rewarded for your perfect dodges and perfect parries in this game, and I find that very, very fascinating and very fun to play. That's kind of what builds the design for it. Now, other than that, I'm not going to showcase too many of the outfits here because, again, we're trying to avoid whatever internet nonsense is going on with controversies regarding character design and clothing and whatever. But there's a variety of different clothing in this game as well, from cyberpunk kind of looking suits to the more traditional kind of schoolgirl type outfits to a bunny suit that's kind of risque for those who want to play that way. We love our bunny girls, right? But that's really, really awesome when it comes together. So from the design perspective, it's amazing. And that's not even to talk about accessorizing. You can get unique earrings for Eve. You can customize the hair. And that is not just restricted to Eve, because you can also customize your 2 additional characters who are Adam and Lily as well in this game. And that's pretty awesome. And then for those of you who like to customize our players, make them look good, make them feel good, make them hit hard in combat, it's amazing. And finally, we are going to talk about camps in this game. So as you progress through levels, there's going to be different camps, and within these camps, you're able to actually pump in skill points into your skill tree to, level up beta skills, level up perfect dodge and parry capabilities, and all new kind of forms of combat that you can add to mix things up. But that's where you can also craft the new suits that you get polymer schematics for, which is pretty awesome. So that's already a unique design in of itself, where you have to find a camp to get these unique abilities. There's also a unique combat ability that I forgot to mention, which is the sneak up ability, where you kind of sneak up to an enemy and hit the triangle button, and you can kind of one-shot them from behind, especially for the smaller enemies. That does come in clutch a lot, so that's pretty awesome. And one really, if not the most important piece to this that I found very interesting during my playthrough was the merchants. So with merchants in this game, when you do go to them, you actually have to buy merchandise or items from them to increase your affinity level with them. When that's done, then said affinity levels actually grant you newer costumes, newer outfits, for lack of better phrasing, obviously. So you're going to be able to get new outfits and all new. You can get them out in the open world too, unique ones as well, but it actually promotes you visiting merchants and buying from them and doing all of that stuff too. Now, outside of that, it does have the classic vanilla RPG format as well. There's going to be lots of side quests to do and lots of kind of interesting kind of fluff that you can use to kind of round out your experience with the game, especially if you want to 100% it. And I find that very cool. Every game needs to have that. And it's serviceable. It's not the greatest in terms of side content, but it's okay. It's a good start to something that could eventually becoming a really, really amazing IP going forward. So that's something to look forward to as well. Overall, the game design, in my opinion, is totally worth the price of admission, and I think you should check it out. At the end of the day, you know how it is. You've been here before. Here at the Buffalo's Wild single player games, we rate games on a scale from just milquetoast to sizzling hot. And I will tell you right now, Stellar Blade is a sizzling hot IP. It's a sizzling hot game to play. From combat to story to the beauty of it all, it is amazing. Like I mentioned already, the story at times can be hit or miss, and this is without spoiling too much for you guys as well. But overall, it's well worth the price of admission, and it's a really fun time to have, be it from a gameplay standpoint or just from a marvel or something to showcase on your TV at home with everyone else watching. Then again, I'll see you next time for the next game that we review here on the Buffalo's Wild single player games. Goodbye now.
Dave, please help us.